You are now tuned in to another ColeLogic experience. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get right. Now, guys, we have made it to the end of the first official ColeLogic BookShare. Can we get my applause buttons? I got buttons for this. Hold up. My shit moving slow, but it's okay. I got fucking buttons. That's fine. It's okay. We got more buttons. Yeah, all that. Yeah, all that. We made it, guys. First official BookShare. Appreciate y'all. If y'all tuned in. This means a lot. Feel like this information needs to be out there, cause there's a lot of this red pill shit going on, and I just want y'all to know that shit did not just start. That being said, we're gonna get into the conclusion. Wait, let me turn this down. That being said, we're finna get into the conclusion of the Queen's Guide to all the black men to understanding the black woman. Alright. Now, I think there's two conclusions. We're gonna read both of them. One from 89 and one 20 years after that. So that was probably like 09, which is like 12 years ago. With that being said, let's go. Chapter 18, conclusion. Every chapter in this book is filled with examples of the kind of problems the black woman has both emotionally and mentally. Until the black man is able to collectively assess the amount of psychological damage done to the character of the black woman, he cannot know where or how to begin to correct it. It's deep. It's an infection that for many years has robbed the black man from reaching his full potential as the king of kings. He is held back by his queen, who is deeply entrenched in fear. Fear that... hanging that up. Where was I? He is held back by his queen, who is deeply entrenched in fear. Fear that she will be recognized and required to change. She is trying to run away from the problem. She is trying to flee from the individual work that must be done to save our nation. Although not lazy by nature, she has become loose and careless about herself and about her man and family. Her brain is smaller than the black man, so while she is acclaimed for her high scholastic achievement, her thought process do not compare to the conscious black man's. Her complaints and whining about the lack of qualified black men has led her to white men, celibacy, and lesbianism. She would rather live in the artificial stage of these random types, poorly thought out choices than accept the options offered to her by the black man. As the first, the original, and the leader, the black man is responsible for remaking the black woman into what she must become. It is not the easiest job, and payment will be slow and the initial benefits few. The recipient challenges the work that must be done. She is hard to train, and it will take time. patience, endurance, and attention. Great sacrifices reap great results. I need a drink. Occasionally, there surfaces a black woman who strives to be civilized. She is refined, intelligent, clean, courteous, and cheerful. It is a lucky black man who finds or makes this kind of black woman. She represents good material to work with. She requires guidance, but because of her being in line with the true nature of a black woman, she is easier to train and submit herself for correction. This type of woman accepts her responsibilities as a wife and as a mother. She is satisfied. I almost said sanctified. She is satisfied and content with what her black man provides for her family and her. Money is not her God. She lives a simpler existence, teaches her children good values, and spends time with them to influence their future. She is obedient and respectful to her man, pursues wholesome goals, is respected in her community, and dresses in a stylish, non-seductive way. She does not curse or be loud in public. She supports her man and enjoys the splendor of a happy sex life. This kind of black woman is a rarity, but she does exist. The black man's work on the black woman must be carefully done so as not to permanently maim her ego. He must approach and challenge her behavior head on, and he must do it in such a way that will not drive her insane. He must do it in a way possibly different in each situation according to the degree of her problem. His words must not be based on the rationale and reason of the American way of life. Instead, his way must be one of his very own design based on the individual needs and desires. Whatever he wants his woman, children, and home to be like. His standards for making these decisions must not be calculated necessarily by the current American lifestyles. He must figure out how to maintain a family and household in peace, a household where there is love and sincere caring for each other of the members. A household where there is love and sincere caring for each of the members. He must control his group, his family, by being civilized in his asking and telling. The initial introduction of a new way of living will be a little rocky, but this will subside in about 3 weeks. It takes approximately 3 weeks to make change. If the black man can maintain his seriousness of purpose for just 3 weeks, he will start to reap the benefits of change. The black woman should be the proudest female on earth. She should feel he is the most blessed of all humankind, because she is the mate of the greatest form of life on the planet, the black man. Instead of opting for his prestigious position, she has chosen the role of rebellion and hostility. But she is not herself. Herself is the most valuable and most beautiful vessel the black man owns. She has no match. Also, remember that much covered in this text concerning the problems of the black woman discusses variable levels of indoctrination. Certainly, not all black women suffer from all of these traits to the fullest extent, but rest assured that all of them are tainted on some level with every element mentioned, covertly, overtly, or both. These are very serious times. Black lives are at risk from deadly extremes of drugs to the misleading comforts of nestling in the warm armpits of the system. Every stage of livelihood is contaminated. The plan to create a dead brain in the slave was set in motion in 1555, and the effect was designed to be self-perpetuating throughout each commencing generation. It is a mold, a frame of mind, an idea of mental death and deterioration that permeates the black nation. Currently, the disconnection of black people and their failure to come to a disconnection of black people and their failure to come to an agreement. I'm sorry, I read that twice. Hold on. Currently, the disconnection of the black people and their failure to come to an agreement on the time and what must be done continues to mushroom and snowball at the same time. The problems loom larger and are more widespread than ever in the 90s. Distrust, disunity, and disagreement is rampant in every black community, and worse, in nearly every black household. The conditions of the black woman is the strongest manifestation of this defect. Clear warnings have come from the problem solvers of our era, and some of the solutions have even been presented by the problem makers. But to date, they have all been rejected. Groups are splintered and competitive with each other. This is also witnessed in the black family. The warners who came with clear messages have died, been killed and systematically ignored, and truth has been reduced to an interpretation of mere opinion. I think I'm gonna need to read that whole paragraph again because I was a little bit fuddled. Clear warnings have come from the problem solvers of our era, and some of the solutions have been presented by the problem makers. But to date, they have all been rejected. Groups are splintered and competitive with each other. This is also witnessed in the black family. The warners who came with clear messages have died, been killed, or systematically ignored, and truth has been reduced to an interpretation of mere opinion. It does not matter now how much financial help is given to the black nation and how much is taken away. If the basic foundation of the black man and the black woman's attachment is not repaired, the black nation and America will continue to self-destruct without additional help or hindrance from anyone. It is already on a roll. Superior education, business advancement, sports achievement, and marvelous entertainment is not enough. We must breed a new people and teach them new ideas. Black men and black women have a clear choice to make, a choice to live resulting from change, or a choice to die from rejecting this truth. This book poses a question of survival, and the individual choices made by the black man and the black woman about this situation will determine whether or not the black nation. I gotta read that again. This book poses a question of survival, and the individual choices made by the black man and the black woman about this situation will determine whether or not the black nation will slowly heal or continue to die a shameful, disrespectful, and unnatural death. There is no point in being embarrassed about the facts presented in this text because they simply outline the current effects of 4 centuries of slavery on the minds and action of black people. All of the black people, including the colored, the Negro, the blacks, the Afro-American, and the new title, African Americans. It is still not settled about who we are. And superficial unity based on racial identification is not adequate for progress anyway. The sheer ignorance and mimicry that blacks practice is recognized and known throughout the civilized world. The pitiful state of condition of the black man, the black woman, and the black child is not hidden, certainly not from the people who caused it to be this way. Remember, The black nation is not responsible for being enslaved. However, we are responsible for our freedom. And until black couples make the unconscious decision to practice the behavioral modifications required to change the slavery thought patterns and combat the practices that perpetuate failure and dependency, the black family will continue on the downhill roller coaster to hell and extinction it is currently riding. We can no longer look to the people who put us in this condition to provide us a way out of it. We must do it ourselves. We must plan sanely for our futures. So make no mistake about it, this writing is a call for the blood, the special blood of the seed of the original black man who have within their genes the knowledge of the great legacies of progress and eternal peace. Every black man will not heed this call. For some of them, it is already too late. They have been emotionally destroyed. Their problems are only symptoms of the causes, which are detailed in this book. This writing is also a call to the black man to confront and conquer the terror-filled veins flowing through the black woman's body, and it is a platform for the black man to learn what he must do to survive. No black man is exempt from these instructions. Repeat, no black man is exempt from these information. He must elevate himself to the occasion. Rise, black man, and take your rightful place as ruler of this universe and everything in it, including the black woman. Now that was a conclusion from 89. I'm going to continue to read the conclusion from 2009. But I must drink some water first. Now, the last 20 years or so have been very revealing and have taught us a great deal about each other, more than we have ever known before, and possibly more than we are already to acknowledge. After the sudden release of this book in March of 1990, about a topic we had sidestepped for years, the subject matter seemed to take on a life of its own. It hit the fan. We finally shared a topic that involved all of us: adults, children, teens, parents, siblings, and elders, because each and every one of us is touched by the contents of this book. One of the main things we discovered is that we are not as different as we think we are, and that we all share in the same or similar situations as described in this book. What goes on in our homes and personal relationships is very predictable with routine outcomes. As it turns out, we are quite monolithic in our love lives. We participated in the national purge of sorts, during which time we thrashed verbally, admitted, denied, refused, accepted, argued, made up, and started all over again as soon as we got to the next chapter. Since the writing of this book over 20 years ago, we have discussed our relationships issues to the point of exhaustion. We have opened up, shut down, exposed our vulnerabilities, and sometimes even moved on to our other nationalities to escape the inevitable confrontations that exist among us about why we can't get along. Admittedly, we just can't get it together. Yet, this one book remains as the most productive and exciting period of emotional growth black men have ever experienced since the 1960s Cultural Revolution. This book brings you the black man and America face to face with yourself for the first time, provides you with some basic knowledge about your woman's behavior and motivations that you didn't know about. Needless to say, black women did not jump for joy at the release of this book because it gave us a seemingly in-your-face diagram of how we act at home and abroad. This is definitely a book for strong black women who are able to read it, see themselves, analyze their own behavior, discuss it with their mates, make changes, and finally be amused at the entire text. As black women, historically we have practiced the treacherous art of hidden issues and secret agendas in our relationship with black men. This includes our mates, our husbands, our fathers if there is one, and our uncles, brothers, and sons. We tend to trick and treat all black men the same and sin and then support other black women in the wrongdoing they get caught in. After black men found this out, the strong ones bonded with each other based on the common interest in trying to understand and manage the black females in their circles. Of course, black women yelled foul, no fair, but the chapters just kept on coming, and the truth are invariably proven. In retrospect, the descriptions of about black women's behavior that they claimed were so demeaning at the time have turned out to be quite mild compared to the bold, sexually explicit, and wild boar behaviors of black females today. Technology, especially YouTube.com, has allowed black women in America by the way of camera to show the entire world the savage and uncivilized things she does, what she likes, what she does in front of her children, what she does in public places like bars, playgrounds, schools, restaurants, and especially how she dresses and dances. No cooking, cleaning, or washing. Just sex, sex, and sex. 20 years ago, certain types of raunchy dancing was reserved for women performing in strip clubs or secret after-hour joints. But today, nearly all women dance in the same vulgar moves that strippers use. They do this dance anywhere there's a camera and anywhere there's an audience because they seem to be aiming for the greater audience, the world, reached via the internet. They are unconsciously training their children, especially their daughters, to dance and behave in the same unabridged, shameless way. Black women compete with each other to see who can dance or gyrate in the most sexually explicit manner, especially in front of men. Sadly, many black men in our society encourage this type of unladylike, low-down dog behavior among our women. Black men should not be supporting this by treating the dancing, fighting, and nudity as if it is just entertainment, because it is not. It is further proof of the destruction of black womanhood and femininity. And black men must remember that this is the woman God designed for them. And ironically, after witnessing black women behave in these ways, and then our men go to other nationalities and find decent women to marry them, a lot of our black men no longer want a black woman. Between how we act and our bad attitude, our men feel like we are too much trouble to deal with. They want peace, which our women do not know how to practice daily. 20 years ago, our situation was not nearly as bad as it is today. We did not have so many black women who were openly gay, nor black women who had given up on finding or being with a black man. There was not an overwhelming problem of homelessness, black women killing their own children, and black women abandoning their children. Our prisons are now overflowing with black women just as they are overflowing with black men. About 25, I gotta say something about that. On these platforms about in the manosphere, sometimes there be some dudes arguing that women get equal punishment to men. And I think niggas should be careful with that, because we are already punished just for being black. And if they get punished in the same way, that won't be good. Let me just say that. I ain't gonna think too much farther than that. But I don't think that'll be good. I don't think that'll be good. Sorry if I'm stretching a lot during this. I went to the chiropractor the other day and they pulled out a hip impingement. My shit been on fire ever since. That being said, hold on. Our prisons are now overflowing with black women just as they are overflowing with black men. About 25% of the black men in jail are incarcerated because of some form of domestic violence or child support. A lot of this is new to the black community and has created an adjustment problem in our household and on the job. We have an entire generation of black male youth who would rather pretend to be a black woman than be a husband of one. Damn. We have an entire generation of black male youth who would rather pretend to be a black woman than be a husband of one. We also did not have as many highly educated black women which have raised the bar they think of their options to mate, date, and marry. The black man has remained economically disenfranchised in society, yet our women today demand more and more money to waste on fake hair, fake fingernails, fake eyelashes, fake buttocks, fake breasts, and fake personalities. Black women spend more time on their physical appearance than on caring for their men and children and cooking nutritious meals. With the black poverty rate at almost 40%, black men must resist. Resist the easy urge to abandon and disconnect from their children. Resist the temptation to practice antisocial behavior such as killing other black men over petty grievances and drugs and turf. There is always something to do to make yourself attractive to a woman. Don't allow women to manipulate you with sex. Get control of your low desires. Clean yourself up. Read. Pick up the trash in your neighborhood and grow a garden. Let our young girls see black men being productive even without a job. Set a good example for a black woman. Be strong in your convictions to do right. Don't let everybody play you. Respect women and make them respect you by leading by example. The black man is the best man on the planet Earth. Your agility and endurance will continue to serve if you use it. Clean yourself up and start a massive movement to volunteer. Most volunteers have daily access to food, restroom facilities, and often transportation. Women like a good man better than they like a man with a job. All women will take care of a man if she sees something good in him for herself. If your woman has other children, try to treat them with equality and respect. All women love men who are nice to their children. All women love men who try to fix up around the house. The black woman is so far removed from love that she sometimes can't identify it. Show her that affection and caring is more than sex. Right now, she thinks this is all she has and all she's good for. Today, just as 20 years ago, loneliness is the greatest fear and threat to the black woman. Excuse me. They will do anything rather than be alone. This is what all the taking off their clothes is about. They are trying to get attention to keep from being alone. That's why they stay on the cell phone all day and all night, trying not to be alone. The black woman is frightened and desperate to be loved, and she is always disappointed. Our women are broken and they cannot be fixed until our man take charge of his post and refuse his present circumstance to dictate his outcome. If the black man does good, then God will be on his side. And you can't stop a man who believes that God is on his side. Do good without going to religious institutions. Police your own self. Reclaim your family. Some will say that advice is old school, out of style, corny, and contains techniques that will no longer work. They are lying because they are lazy and want us to fail. The behaviors I suggest are the only ones that will work on a fractured family and a shattered relationship. The main commonality we have is that we are all products of our ancestral slave history, which damaged us all. We must talk about slavery together as a family and study the ways it has affected us, especially the black woman. We cannot get away from this. We have to confront it and deal with it in order to get better. You survived slavery and you survived this. You can survive this. And that is the end. Let's go. We made it, guys. We made it. We made it. We made it. Guys, we made it through the first ColeLogic BookShare. Can I get a round of applause? Can I get a round of applause, please? Hold up, hold up. I do it for myself. We made it. I hope that y'all comprehend what I was reading. I tried my best to articulate the words as I read them in this book. I recognized the faults in my reading. I read faster than I word them out of my mouth. And that is okay because I will get better at that. And if you are reading and made it this far, you might have noticed the improvement. If you have, put that in the comments. If you have, donate. I got them. Hold up. Where we at? Donations. Hit that Cash App and the Venmo. If you appreciate me reading this to you, I hope that you get this book for yourself. Donations. If you notice, gifts. And all of the descriptions, I put a link to the Amazon. I need to update that and put a link to her eBay because she don't like Amazon. Yeah. Oh, that being said, I'm gonna show y'all the next book we're getting into, guys. Hold up. I'm a fool. But yeah, this is the next one. Now she putting the women on game about us. Now I'm gonna tell y'all, when I went through this book the first time, you can tell it's pretty clean. A lot less stuff happened to it versus the other one. It's not signed, and it's a little thicker. It's a little thicker. This was written second. Copyrighted in 1990, written in 92, and the second edition was in 2015. So she added some stuff into it about 6 years ago. All right. Let's see. Do I want to start? Oh, that's a whole different. I guess I can get into the intro now, because the intro ain't even that long. Well, she got a forward. I'll do that later. We're going to get into it, y'all. Y'all stay tuned. Appreciate y'all tuning into another ColeLogic BookShare. Finally get to change the title name down there at the bottom. So proud of myself for finishing this far. Making it through it. The next book only got 12 chapters. I'm talking too much, man. I'm gonna get out of here. That being said, we out of here.